Hello. By the time you watch this, it will be around the full moon in Capricorn. Notice that it's going the opposite this year. First, we're having the opposing sign, and then the new moon in the main sign. So right now, the sun is in Cancer, but we're going to have the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July. It's going to be 11 degrees of Capricorn. And on the 22nd and 23rd, so we're going to have Venus stationing retrograde on the 22nd. On the 23rd, we're going to have Chiron, the healer, stationing retrograde as well. And then we'll have the new moon on the 17th in Cancer, and the sun is going to be moving into Leo on the 22nd, I believe. That will be, I'll be able to confirm that before it happens. No, I'm right. It is. It's going to go from Cancer into Leo on the 22nd. So it's going to be kind of in between. All right. So if you are Scorpio rising, what does this mean for you? Well, Capricorn for most of us is in our 3rd house of communication. Capricorn also is all about work. Okay. So I do know plenty of Scorpio risings and Scorpio suns that, especially when they were younger, they were all work focused. And so let's start with what it means to have Capricorn in the 3rd house. Well, how do Capricorns usually communicate? Well, a grounded Capricorn is very direct, but with a nurturing feel. Capricorns can be a little bit of nurturer, but they're direct. And Capricorns are the leaders of the earth signs, okay? So they talk like a leader, they act like a leader, and they communicate. And sometimes, if they're not grounded, in a very authoritative way. So, if that is you, how can you soften the way that you communicate? Okay. If you are a leader in your business or at work or what have you, can you bring it down so that way the way you talk to your employers or your employees or the people that you're over as equal instead of talking down to them, okay? And if this also deals with siblings as well. How do you communicate with your siblings? Now, siblings doesn't necessarily mean your blood siblings. If you have a friend that you're so close to that you consider them your sister or your brother, then those count as siblings as well. Okay, and let's look at the number 3 as well. In numerology, what does 3 mean? Giving you some homework to do. What does 3 mean to you? Okay. I do know that for me, 3s have come up a lot, and it's whatever comes to me at the time. And I look at it as, you're going the right way. 3 is also air, right? 3 can also be communication. Okay. And of course, originally, if you go in order, from Aries onto Pisces, the 3rd house actually is ruled by Gemini, which is an air sign. Okay, so and look at whatever else 3 means to you and let it speak to you as well. So, are you communicating effectively? If you're like me, you might have grown up in a household where you just had to assume that you knew what your parents were saying because you didn't. Maybe you got in trouble, and this goes back to the emotional recovery, right? Emotional trauma recovery. Maybe your parents just said, well, you should know, but you don't know. And I know for me now as an adult, if my parents say, you know what I'm talking about, sometimes I really don't. And so that either makes them, or I don't want to say make, but that kind of puts a little bit of fire under them to really express themselves or to not express themselves. And sometimes when they keep going, it does start to make sense, and sometimes it doesn't, right? And so, how can you shift that for your children or for your nieces and nephews or for the people around you? If you grew up in a house where there was lack of communication and people just assumed that you should know and were in trouble, yeah, maybe for good reasons sometimes, but oftentimes maybe for not so good reasons, just because there was no communication. How can you shift that? How can you communicate to your siblings or anybody that's around you in a way that they understand? Okay. And, of course, the first thing that I know I was taught, that if you didn't understand, well, you must be stupid. You're an idiot, right? That's what we were taught. And that is no. Just because you do not understand what somebody is saying does not make you stupid, does not make you an idiot. It's okay if you don't understand. This is when you start asking questions. What do you mean by that? Okay. Are you talking about this or are you talking about this? Maybe give them some options if that person is struggling to communicate. Okay, I used to work with children that were special needs, and not all of them were verbal. And they did not know how to communicate. Some of them would just point. I have a brother that has slight autism, and he just points. And then there's some kids that they would point, they would try to, make you, show you, I want you to do something with my iPad, because they don't know. And sometimes you don't know either, all right? And so if it was like that, they would get so frustrated and they would take out their anger on you, all right, with no hesitation. And me being over them, I had to be understanding that they're really struggling to communicate with me. And because they don't know how else to express themselves but point and grunt and just scream sometimes because they're frustrated, I did my best to, this has nothing to do with me. They're frustrated because they cannot communicate it with me. And sometimes they do take it out on me. All right. But I was able to separate the two. And so we have to separate the two, right? That if someone is struggling to communicate because this is how they have communicated most of their life, ask questions. Okay. Did you mean this or did you mean this? Give them options. And I know sometimes when you do that, the person may think, well, now you're treating me like a child. Let them think whatever the hell they want to think. All right. You are doing your best in whatever position you are, or being a friend or whatever, to communicate with them. So this is how we can shift it. And being that the full moon is in our third house coming on July 3rd, all right, this also means that we get to let go of something, hence the song I'm playing in the background. In the full moon, emotions can get high, okay? Capricorns, sometimes they focus so much on work, they don't have time to show emotion. They don't have time to grieve. They don't have time to do whatever their body's trying to do. So since Capricorn also rules the 6th house, are you overworking? Are you doing too much work? Are you using work to run away from something? Okay. What is it that you can do for 5 minutes to just take a break for yourself? And the full moon will highlight that. It will shine a light on what you have missed, either on in communication or work. Okay. I know Capricorns because I used to be one of them. That is my South Node at birth. And sometimes I would be so focused on a paper or on some kind of project, I would not even get up to go to the bathroom, okay? That is so Capricorn, that they won't even go to the bathroom because they're so focused on what they're doing, okay? Another way, because work for Capricorn does not necessarily mean their job. It could be focusing on school, and they keep going to school. That's their form of work. They like going to school. My uncle's a Capricorn, and sometimes at night he'll fix a car, or he'll have projects. My cousin is staying in his old house, so he'll fix up the house, and he'll have all these projects that he needs to do, and he will be so focused on it that the universe is like, we're going to allow you to either get sick or something to stop you so you can rest. You need to rest. And that's what's happened to him and a couple other Capricorns too. The universe will allow things to happen to you to slow down. When I was very much in that third house, south node of work, because that's what it was for me before it was communication and siblings, I did use my job to run away from things. I didn't want to deal with anything. So work was my escape. I was able to focus on the kids that I was watching at that time, or focus on the patrons that were coming in and buying things when I worked for retail, or focus on the people, the customers that were coming in at fast food restaurants, whatever it was. If I was in college, I would stay up until 2, 3 in the morning working on the paper because I had to do it now. I'd rather do it now than do it later and then lose sleep in detriment to my own body, not listen to my body saying, hey, I'm tired. I would ignore that and keep going. Sometimes Capricorns overwork, as in they work out every single day, in the morning and in the evening. Are you overworking your body? That can be work too, by working out too much. So whatever speaks to you in this, okay? This is a good time as we approach the full moon of Capricorn to release that. Release the old way that you communicate. Maybe even release those people that if you're not vibing with them anymore as your siblings that you used to look at as your sister or brother anymore, or maybe your literal siblings, your blood siblings, maybe it's time to let them go. If they make you feel some kind of way when you're around them, if there's just no connection anymore, whatever, it is time to release them. It is time to release the way that maybe you have been working all this time. And this speaks to Capricorns too. If you are Capricorn, I know you can relate to this. And the full moon in your sign, it is time to release this. Okay? If this is your one personal year, then what's coming for us is really a balance and us seeing the work that we have done, because June for us was really for us to go inward and us to do some assessments, inner assessments, inner work, right? And then in the last part of June and into July, we get to see our results of what the inner work we have done. If you are a generator like myself, what have you generated? Are you already seeing those results? Because I'm already seeing those results. This is why I have the ability to speak on things before they even happen, because I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling that full moon pull in Capricorn, all right? And have noticed that I am really paying attention to the way that I communicate. And how are we're going to end this with how are we communicating to the universe? Because when we say things like, well, I can't do that, or saying things, well, this will never happen, the universe is listening, okay? If you are calling in someone that you want to be with and you're not detailed, not extremely detailed, but a little bit detailed to the point where they must be single, the universe doesn't see the difference. If you say this will never happen, the universe says, okay, she doesn't want it to happen ever, okay? So watching how you speak and, saying things like never and I can't and stuff like that, you are telling the universe that you have obstacles in the way. But when you take those away, for instance, with the 4 agreements, don't take anything personally. I replace don't and reframe it with I refuse to take anything personally because it's not about me. Okay? So reframing the way that you speak during this time, and that's part of the letting go. So hopefully that makes sense, and enjoy this full moon. A lot of times the full moon's also emotional, so feel those emotions. And to my guys, I speak to you again. It is okay to feel. It is okay to let go, okay? So with that, thank you so much for listening. My name is Stephanie, to those of you that don't know. And I will talk to you soon. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.